everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for January 2020. I do this feature every month and I hopefully introduce brand new books to my subscribers, so if you want to stick around I would be very grateful. The first one I'm going to talk about is a very hyped up book. This is the sequel to One of Us is Lying. It's called One of Us is Next. This is a YA thriller. The first book, One of Us is Lying, has been on the New York Times bestsellers list for 100 weeks, I think, which is quite impressive. In the first book, a teenager dies and his classmates have to solve the murder. The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. This is the third book in the Truly Devious trilogy. In the first book, the main character goes to an academy. She's really happy because she's really into true crime, and a true crime case happened there back when the academy first opened. The founder's wife and daughter went missing, and there's a whole mystery surrounding where the daughter is now. I've already read this one, I did enjoy it. It wrapped up the series quite well. Infinity Sun, which is Adam Silvera's first foray into fantasy. I have a review copy of this one which I received in exchange for an honest review, but I have not read it yet, so I need to get to that before it comes out on the 14th. The description says that it's about two brothers who are caught up in a magical war. I think one side of the war has been stealing essences from endangered magical creatures, and that's what caught my eye about this initially because that sounds awful. Scavenge the Stars. In this one, the main character has been held captive on a ship for years. She saves someone from drowning, and this someone ends up saving her life and releasing her from captivity. The Map from Here to There, which is the sequel to The Start of Me and You, which is a YA contemporary book that I read years ago, and I can't really remember what happened, so I should probably do a recap for Recaptions at some point. In this one, the main character, Paige, is going into her senior year. Nameless Queen, which is a debut book. This is YA fantasy. It's a standalone, which is great, and it's about a peasant who becomes a queen. Sweet Cutes, which is another debut, which everyone has been hyping up. It's YA contemporary. In this book, there are two rival restaurants, and the teenagers of the owners run the Twitter accounts and all the marketing stuff, which seems a bit silly to me. They get into a viral Twitter war, and then they meet in real life, but neither knows who the other is. So it's kind of a hate-to-love romance with a ton of Twitter drama, which I always enjoy. Diamond City, another debut. This is coming out towards the end of the month. It's YA fantasy about a girl who is an orphan and also an assassin, and she is told by her boss to go and assassinate a really important person, and she fails, and then her boss kicks off and she has to go and fix her mistakes. Another debut coming out in January is Woven in Moonlight. This is YA fantasy. It's a standalone, but there might be a spin-off at some point. This one is inspired by Bolivian politics and history. Another debut, and I think the last one of the list, Three Things I Know Are True. This one is YA contemporary. It's told in verse. It's about the sister of a boy who was playing around with a gun, got into an accident and paralysed himself. It's very topical. It talks about gun laws and how this accident has affected the entire family. The Lookalike, which is an adult psychological drama thriller according to Goodreads. I think this is about a main character who escaped murder a few years ago, and I don't think she's believed. The Vanishing, which seems to have about 1 million different genre tags on Goodreads, but as far as I can tell it's probably romantic suspense. In the town where this book is set, there's an explosion in a cave system, and that releases a gas which seems to affect the people living in the town. Jane Anonymous, which is one that I'm really excited for. This is YA contemporary. It's about a teenage girl who was abducted and she managed to get away, but now she has to deal with what she went through. The Other People, which is written by CJ Tudor, who wrote The Chalk Man. This is an adult thriller, and it's about a man whose daughter was kidnapped a few years back, and he spent the past few years trying to find her. Don't Read the Comments, which is YA contemporary. This one is about two teenage gamers and I guess gaming culture, online culture. Bitter Falls, which is the sequel to Stillhouse Lake. Stillhouse Lake is one of my favourite books. I think I read it in 2018. It's a really good adult thriller. The main character's husband was convicted of murdering young women. The main character had no idea that her husband was doing this, and she's had to go into hiding with her two children because the press keep getting to her and fans of her disgusting husband keep finding her and threatening her. This is the fourth book in the series, and I've really enjoyed the first two. The third one was a bit different, and it's going to take the series in a different direction given the way that it ended. So I'm curious to see how this one goes, because I think there might be a slight switch up, and it's probably going to be unlike anything that has happened before. Blood Countess, which is YA horror. This one is based on the real inspiration for Count Dracula. I guess it follows the Blood Countess. I don't really know much about this one, but YA horror is a genre that I've been meaning to look more into in 2020, so I'm looking forward to getting to this one at some point. The next one is one that I was a bit iffy about putting on my list because I don't normally read paranormal fiction, but this one did sound quite good. It's called Seven Deadly Shadows. It seems to be inspired by Japanese folklore, and there are demons involved, and the demons part is what really got to me. It also promises an unlikely band of heroes, which I always enjoy, so maybe I will pick this one up, but it's definitely not at the top of my list. Finally, the last book that I want to tell you about is We Used to Be Friends. This is a YA contemporary book. It's told in dual timelines that go both forwards and backwards. So at the start of, I think, senior year, these two best friends are best friends. They hang out together all the time, and then it skips to the end of senior year and they're no longer talking, and I think the two timelines sort of go backwards and forwards towards one another, and we learn the story of why they're no longer friends. I think one of the main characters is gay. I don't know about the other one. I'm not sure if they're into one another or not. Those are all the books that I'm looking forward to in January. There are definitely a lot more coming out than I have mentioned here. These are just the ones that I'm most looking forward to reading. Hopefully I managed to get to at least some of them in January or February. It will be good to kind of be on top of new releases this year. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll speak to you all in my next one. Bye!